You know, sometimes the most incredible stories about change pop up where you least expect them. And today, we're going to break down a really powerful character arc from a video game, of all places. It's a perfect example of how this kind of entertainment can tell one heck of a story about pride, about being humbled, and ultimately about being a hero. All right, let's get into it. So it all starts with this classic warning, right? And honestly, it just perfectly sums up our main guy, Lieutenant Wade Jackson. I mean, this dude is a hotshot Navy pilot, the baddest thing in the sky, and boy, does he know it. He's flying high, and I'm not just talking about altitude. He is soaring on his own massive ego. But you know how that goes? That kind of flight never, ever lasts. And yeah, it doesn't, because in pretty much every great story about change, about real transformation, the whole journey has to kick off with a fall. And for Wade Jackson, that fall is terrifyingly, literally, a fall. So boom. In this absolute storm of fire and metal, Wade is just ripped from his element. His plane, the source of all his power, his entire identity, it's gone. He gets shot down, crashes on some remote island, and just like that, he's stripped of everything. His rank, his control, his wings, poof. He's not a daredevil pilot anymore. Nope. He's just a guy trying to survive, totally grounded and completely vulnerable. But here's the kicker. Just moments before this all goes down, Wade says this. This is basically his motto, right? It's that total lone wolf attitude, just fueled by pure, uncut ego. He genuinely believes he's the only hero in this story. He has absolutely no clue that his entire world is about to be turned completely upside down. So now he's stranded, he's hurt, and he's totally forced into this new reality. Suddenly, his survival isn't about how good of a pilot he is anymore. Nope. Now it all depends on strangers, the very ground soldiers he probably never even gave a second thought to from way up there at 10,000 feet. And listen, these are not just any soldiers. Wade gets found by the 93rd Infantry Division, and this is a really crucial piece of the story. We're talking about hardened, experienced men who are basically fighting two wars at once, one against the enemy in front of them and another against the prejudice coming from their own side. They are incredibly tough, super resourceful, and they live in a world that a guy like Wade just couldn't even begin to imagine. And this right here just sets up the perfect culture clash, doesn't it? On one side, you've got Lieutenant Jackson, the Navy pilot, the lone wolf in the sky, and on the other, you have Sergeant James Washington, the Army infantry leader fighting with his guys down in the dirt. You've got the cocky daredevil versus the grounded team-first leader. Oh yeah, the whole power dynamic is about to be flipped on its head. And bam, there it is, that one line from Sergeant Washington, and the whole script is flipped. The guy who prided himself on always being in the pilot seat, he's just been told flat out that he's a passenger now. Yeah, his old world is officially over. Now, of course, this new partnership isn't going to be built over some friendly chat. No way. It's forged in the absolute worst pressure you can imagine, a flat-out desperate fight for survival. This is where Wade's real education begins. So Wade's first lesson is all about infantry tactics. And what looks to him like just a suicidal charge across a bridge is, for these guys, a stone-cold calculated plan. You draw their fire, you run like you've never run before, and you regroup on the other side. It is the brutal, simple, and shockingly effective reality of fighting on the ground, a whole other universe from a dogfight in the clouds. And this leads to maybe the most important lesson of all, straight from Sergeant Washington. See, Wade's brand of bravery was always about that reckless, look-at-me kind of risk. Basically, suicide missions. But the 93rd, they operate on sacrifice. That's a calculated, selfless risk you take for the guys standing next to you. And that idea, it just completely shatters Wade's entire view of the world. Okay, this is the real moment of truth. Wade, the pilot, is handed a flamethrower. I mean, one of the most brutal, up-close and personal infantry weapons you can get. He's ordered to get his hands dirty, to fight right there in the mud. He is no longer an ace pilot. He's a grunt on the ground, just like them. And this whole trial by fire, it doesn't just teach Wade some new skills. It fundamentally changes who he is. You could say he's earning a whole new set of wings, but these ones aren't built on altitude. They're built on perspective. And I mean, just look at this comparison. It says everything. Before the crash, his whole thing was, I'll finish what they started. It was all about him. But after fighting with the 93rd, His answer to an order is just, "I'm your man, Sergeant." That's a massive shift, right? From pure selfish ego to selfless trust and being part of a team. But wait, there's a really brilliant twist to all this. Turns out, Sergeant Washington's mission was way bigger than it looked. He wasn't just trying to survive, he was actually trying to rescue his trapped men and take over an enemy base. A base that, wouldn't you know it, had an airplane hangar. Finding a pilot wasn't just luck, it was part of the plan all along. Honestly, the game's own narration just sums this up perfectly. Wade's change wasn't just about learning to be a ground soldier. No, it was about seeing the war, and really the whole world, through the eyes of these guys who lived and fought in the dirt every single day. So what it all boils down to is this. Wade's whole journey leads him to one simple truth. Real strength? It's not about how skilled you are or how brave you are on your own. It's about camaraderie. He finally learns that the only way you really win, the only way you survive, is to have each other's backs. Simple as that. And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. See, the game hints that Wade, well, he has a history of letting his teammates down. Now, he definitely proved himself in this one insane battle with the 93rd, for sure. But does that just wipe the slate clean? It really makes you wonder, right? Is trust something you can earn in a single fiery battle, or is it something that takes a lifetime to build?